How y'all doing? And welcome on in. I am the Gingerbeerdman back again with Tome 23, the Cradle and Grave here. Evan Macmillan and the Imposter Noble. This is probably going to be the shortest one we have ever done here on the channel. Kind of crazy how short it is. But as always, this is like an ASMR kind of deal. You're just listening to the narrator. And yeah, I will talk to you guys a tiny bit after all this is done. So let's get rolling and get started here.
Memory 6079. The sound of Archie's hands pounding against the door feels 100 miles away. Evan ascends the staircase. Each step feels lighter than the last. He just needs a little break. No fake friends. No overbearing boss. No unions. No maggots. No lies. No mine. No killing. He figures if he calls the fire department to let his father out, it would take them a few minutes to get here. By then, he could be long gone. Find a new place to call home. Maybe down the coast, somewhere a little sunnier. As he reaches the top of the stairs, he notices something pooling around his feet. Smoke? He turns around and barrels back down the stairs. The smoke feels like soup as he descends, pitch black and choking. Too thick for smoke. Fog? He can't hear his father screaming anymore. As it chokes out the light, it also seems to choke out sound. Evan calls to his father, but the fog swallows his voice. He lurches forward, arms outstretched. Each step feels like it should be the last, but the staircase keeps descending. Finally, after what feels like a lifetime, his foot hits solid ground. He places his hands on the wall, feeling his way around to the door. But these walls aren't right. Cold, rough, slick to the touch. The fog begins to dissipate, just enough to see his own hands. Blood. He gasps as the room comes into view. The steel door is gone. The gray concrete walls replaced by rickety wooden boards. Streaks of gore reach from floor to ceiling as exposed pipes rattle erratically. His eyes scan for anything familiar where his father might be trapped. As he reaches the center of the room, his gaze freezes. An enormous structure, covered in meat hooks. He is unable to tear his eyes away from it. The structure horrifies him. But something strange and foreign speaks deep within him. These hooks. These are my hooks. Memory 6080. The feeling in the pit of his stomach is too much for him. He turns and stumbles back up the stairs. The ascent feels endless. Every muscle in his body aches. His lungs burn. But he pushes upward, out of this basement, out of this nightmare. At the top, he finds himself nowhere. No mine, no estate, nothing but unending rocky ground in every direction, and that damned fog again. He picks a direction and starts walking. He remembers being young, hunting with his father, getting separated, lost in the woods. Back then, he walked straight until he hit a road, got his bearings, got back to the car. got an earful from his father. His fists tighten. He supposes he'll get another earful when he finds him. If he finds him. The thought makes his stomach drop. How long has he been walking? He cannot remember. It feels like it's been days. He can barely remember the basement where he left his father, as if he hadn't seen it in years. A smeared, gray memory. But that other basement, it sits heavy, vivid in his mind, as if he never left. He can still count the planks on the wall and those hooks. He could almost hear them, calling out to him. He snaps out of his reverie as a sharp, crushing pain shoots up his leg. He collapses, shrieks in pain, looks down. His father's bear trap. He shouts out again, frustrated. Who did this? The same person who brought him here? Who separated him from his father? He pries it open, wrests his ankle from its grip. Blood gushes from the jagged wound. He looks around again, desperate for some sign of humanity. Nothing. I'll die here, he thinks. I just wanted to get away. He drops to his seat, wraps his arm around the trap, and passes out as the fog muffles his pained screams. Memory 6081. Evan comes to, gasps, grabs at his leg. Dry. He exhales. No wound. It throbs with pain, but the skin is smooth, undamaged. Evan wonders if he imagined the entire thing. His eyes adapt to the darkness and his surroundings come into view. Not imagined. He's back in that basement, with that structure, again. He shouts in frustration, "What do you want from me?" His words bounce hollowly off the ramshackle walls. Nobody is here to answer. He props his hand against the wall, shakily rises to his feet, heads to the staircase again. As he limps towards it, each step becomes harder, not due to the pain, but as if some kind of magnet is pulling him back, as if something is telling him, "You are not meant to leave. Stop resisting." He pushes forward, regardless. He's no sheep, no maggot. Whatever game this place is playing with him, he will not participate. He looks down at the first step, gingerly places his aching foot on it, pushes onward. This time, the pain is in his shoulder. He did not notice the chains hanging from the ceiling, nor the fetid, rusting hooks dangling from them. He does not scream this time. It feels pointless. Nobody is listening. Or if they are, his screams mean nothing. He grabs onto the hook, tries to pry it from his arm, but it's stuck fast. He instead tears it from the chain, takes another shaky step. Another hook tucks into his torso, just under his ribcage. He groans and tears it from its chain. Looks up the stairs. Chains all the way up, dangling at impossible angles, a grim metallic web. He grits his teeth, pushes on. He thinks back to when his father used to lock him in that very room, that feeling of helplessness, of being trapped. He ducks, dodges, moves the hooks aside with his hands, but hooks barb him with every step. And with every step, he tears another from its chain. The stairs have no light at the top of them, no hope. He does not know why he keeps pressing forward, only that he will not be trapped again. He reaches the top of the stairs, bleeding and losing consciousness again. He cannot help but laugh, because of course, that damned basement again. Memory 6082. He has not left the basement for a long, long time. There's no food, but he does not starve, just feels a vague hollowness. The stairs are pointless. He has slammed the walls, shouted, tried to sleep, but nothing changes. The blood continues to pour down the walls. The pipes continue to rattle, and the structure continues to reach out to him. He decides to focus on it. He's tried everything else. He picks up his bear trap, the one familiar thing in this realm, and ambles over to the structure, places a hand on it, closes his eyes. What he sees is a memory. Not his own memory, someone else's. A moonlit forest, weak, anguished cries in the distance. The point of view shuffles forward towards it. A man lying on the ground in a bear trap. Evan's uncle. "Archie, get me out." He feels his father's voice as if it resonates from his own throat. "Roland, what do you got yourself into?" Roland whimpers, tugs feebly at the trap, cries out again, "Brother, please!" Evan feels the creases of his father's face sharpen as he frowns. Weak, pathetic, wretched, weak, idiot, maggot! His right hand grips the blade of a meat cleaver. "Can't even hunt bear right!" Raises the cleaver. Evan gasps as he returns to his own body. It felt so real. The evening frost in his lungs, the dimples of the cleaver's handle, the hate. He looks at the structure again, with new understanding. This place didn't take me from him. It saved me from him. His violence, his control. He gently wraps his fingers around one of the structure's hooks, pulls it, tests its resistance. He acutely feels that hollowness again, a hunger, a longing. He asks again, earnestly this time, "What do you want from me?" As if in response, an animalistic growl erupts from the staircase. Memory 6083. Evan whips around, faces the stairs. A lumbering frame approaches him, slowly. A twisted, makeshift cleaver in its hand. Matted brown fur sticks to its face. Its snout gleams red with blood in the basement light. It gnashes its teeth, snarls, speaks. "Maggot!" Evan does not cower, as he once might have. His father would always make him feel so small, so alone. But here, Evan is not alone. He calmly sets the bear trap, dares the beast to come at him. It sees the trap, hesitates. "Where did you find that?" "Saw it in the forest," Evan responds. "Saw what you did." The beast roars, charges at Evan. Evan shifts his weight, kicks the trap into the beast's path. A sickening crunch bounces off the basement walls, and the beast crumples. Roar! It snarls, growls, snaps its jaw at Evan, drops the cleaver to pry his leg from the trap. Without thought, Evan snatches the cleaver from the ground, feels that rush of blood just as his father had, raises his arm, pauses. No, not a kill, a sacrifice. He grabs the beast by its shoulders, lifts it, and slams it back onto a hook. It screams out of shock, throws its arms to its back, tries to unhook itself, but its body is too massive, its arms too short. It flails and screams as Evan walks back to the wall, holds the cleaver in his hand, feels its weight. He watches silently as the fight leaves the beast. The hollowness in Evan's chest dissolves, replaced by a new feeling: fulfillment. He basks in this feeling for a long time. Impossible to tell how long. He watches the beast give up, watches its skin dry, peel, explode with maggots, watches the desiccated meat flop to the floor, watches the maggots consume the flesh, leaving behind only bones. He picks up the beast's femur, begins to carve into the bone with his cleaver, whittles a face, a jaw, affixes the beast's teeth, a smile. Something beautiful from something so ugly. Pulls the crude sculpture over his face, a symbol of his devotion to this basement that saved him from his father, saved him from himself. He hears voices again, this time distant, up the stairs. He grabs the trap, his cleaver, ascends the stairs. Nothing stops him this time. He feels weightless as he ascends, as he once had so long ago. At the top, flickering light and crackling embers dance and sing in the distance, a group huddled around its warmth. Evan looks at them from a distance for a long time, thinks of the basement, how it accepted him, molded him, delivered him. Perhaps it will deliver them too.
Memory 8125. Sunlight spills over Renjiro Yamaoka sitting cross-legged in the meadow. His horse, Raifu, waits patiently. The samurai inhales, considers the weight of the katana at his hip. His mind wanders for a second, the calm disrupted. His chest tightens. The green fields before him offer no peace when he knows his son spills the red blood of innocence upon them. He is on the trail to stop him. Kazan, the man known as the Oni, his son who has made it his mission to purify the samurai, not through discipline or honor, but by massacring the farmers who oppose them. A savage reaction to minor transgressions. The sun carves its way through the sky as Raifu carries Renjiro along a quiet road. Modest homes dot the field ahead. No one toils outside. There is an unlikely stillness, as if he journeys through a painting. In the distance, a man watches, leaning against his home. He does not move. As Rinjiro approaches, the scene becomes clear. The farmer is impaled on the wall of his home. Blood pools at his feet. A crow takes flight. It ignores the corpse, instead landing further down the hill. Rinjiro follows. A pool of pitch blackness shuffles in the tall grass ahead. The dark stain screeches, a vast murder of crows lambasting the intruder. Reluctantly, they take flight, stretching across the sky like a dark scythe. Blood soaks the earth where they stood. There are hints that the viscera is human, a roughly cut hand, an exposed femur, but the number of victims is impossible to know in the pulverized gore. This cannot be the work of Kazan. How could he? A sour lump rises in Rinjiro's throat. He wonders if the commoners' tales are true. It must be an Oni that possesses Kazan, for his son could never commit such evil. Memory 8126. Rinjiro slumps with fatigue. He hears the voice in his head. Go home. You are no samurai. He is tired. He acknowledges the truth. I am no samurai. The voice demands more. You are not Rinjiro Yamaoka. He nods. I am not Rinjiro Yamaoka. The faded memories return. He is a child, torn from his parents. He does not understand why. They scream his name. Hachi! He never sees them again. He's brought to a snarling man who looks him over, opens his mouth, ignores his crying. Good. He will be for my son. He is taken to a boy to be his playmate. The boy's name is Rinjiro Yamaoka. They become friends, but there are rules. Rinjiro must always win. If Rinjiro hits him, he must accept it. He goes with Rinjiro to reading and fighting classes, but not as an equal. He must downplay his abilities. He is there to amuse, a living toy. And like a toy, he becomes dull. After a decade, he is cast off to work like the other servants. From then on, Rinjiro looks at Hachi with bitterness, as if embarrassed of the bond he had with a commoner. As Rinjiro comes of age, he assumes the duties of a samurai. Beneath his facade of discipline and mercy is cruelty. He leaves scars on Hachi. Rinjiro boards a ship and Hachi goes with him. The Yamaoka family influence is set to extend to a new territory. Hachi pulls a cart of supplies aboard. A storm hits within hours of casting off. Tossed from bow to stern, Hachi grabs Rinjiro's hand as the samurai is nearly thrown overboard. He wants to let go, but he sees the face of the boy that was his only friend. He pulls him aboard. A second to catch his breath. A thunderous crash. Parts of the hull explode into splinters. He's thrown to the deck. Through the ocean spray, he sees Rinjiro, a jagged piece of wood pierced through his neck. Rinjiro clutches his throat, tries to hold in the blood, his eyes wide as they fade into a furious, reluctant expression of death. The ship comes apart. Hachi awakens on a beach amidst debris and corpses. Nearby is a chest he brought aboard. He breaks it open, pulls out Rinjiro's armor, katana, and the Yamaoka family crest. Hachi will never speak his true name again. On this day, he becomes the samurai, Rinjiro Yamaoka. Memory 8127. Renjiro. Hachi. Who are you? Too late to erase the lie now. So, it is Renjiro who rides into the next town. A commoner bows her head as he passes. Nearby, a few men speak, glances cast in Renjiro's direction. He pretends to ignore them. Muttered words reach his ears. Father to an Oni. Evil blood. Not a real samurai. Yamaoka butchers. Come to kill. Behind him, someone grabs his armor and attempts to pull him from his horse. He moves with the motion, spinning from his mount to land on his feet, a hand to his blade. The sudden fear struck in those around him stokes their anger. Shouted words become waves of indistinguishable sound. They demand answers to questions he cannot hear. A club slams against him. A hand yanks at his mask. Raifu whinnies and runs. Renjiro moves his hand to his sword. No. He cannot act as his son would. He would rather die than let the Yamaoka name drown in shame and blood. A blow from behind pushes him to the ground. Strikes resonate through the armor to his ribs. He pushes his hand against his blade, ensures the frantic grips that pull at him cannot unsheath it. The strikes continue until the crowd's anger is quenched. They walk away, spitting and laughing. He pulls himself from the mud, whistling for Raifu. Nothing. The horse lies at the roadside, his body still. Later, when Renjiro is beyond the sight of others, he will clutch his wounds and grieve. Memory 8128. Renjiro examines his bruises. Nothing serious. But the violence, how did it come to this? He remembers when Kazan was a young boy, shouting angrily. They called me imposter noble. They sung and they laughed. The guilt bears down on Renjiro. When he assumed the Yamaoka name, he could not convince everyone in the village of his lie. The lone survivor of a shipwreck, his only proof of identity being armor, a blade, and a family crest. It was a suspicious story. Were it not for what he learned as the playmate to a noble, he'd likely have been caught. But he was well-spoken, knew how to read, and could fight like a samurai. It dispelled most doubts. Most. The whisperings of an imposter noble would never be fully silenced. It fueled a rage in Kazan. Renjiro tried to teach his son patience and humility. He wonders what else he could have done. I suppose I could have taught him the truth.
And that is it. That is all of Tome 23, Cradle and Grave. It is very short, I'm not going to lie. We have finally all caught up now, up to date to the tomes. Another thing to note, there is no videos anymore. There's more pictures than there is talking now. There's a lot of stuff that I've said way in the beginning that you were going to notice the changes as you went through the tomes. It's like there's less work put into it, to me. That's exactly how it feels. It definitely feels that way. There's no more videos. There's less audio, I feel, in this one. Also, if you were to go back here, all of these, you were able to do quests to earn blood points to unlock it and stuff like that. This one, there was nothing. There was nothing. You couldn't do no quests to get extra blood points, rift points, anything. You couldn't do anything. They took that away. I noticed that. I don't know if anybody else noticed that, but I did. But we are finally all caught up. Until the next one. 24 is coming out very, very, very soon. So thank you all for tuning in. I greatly appreciate it. If you're not subscribed, please subscribe, hit that bell, like all that good jazz, and I'll get the next tome out to you whenever it does. But I am live, normally Monday through Friday in the mornings, playing the old Dead by the Daylight. You all have a good rest of your day and don't do anything I wouldn't do. I'm out of here.